Today we're going to discuss how to create balance in landscape images. Why would you want to create a balanced image? After all, an image is an image, right? Well, no. Actually, when you create a balanced image, your viewers, such as your family and friends, will not feel unsettled. You'll actually show them a really balanced image that actually calms them down, and they can appreciate the beauty of that image that much more. So, let's hop over to the monitor and we'll discuss 4 images that I've selected, including this one right here, on how I created balanced images. And I think you'll appreciate that if you take these little tidbits to heart, your landscape photography will go from here to here. Here we go. In this first image, you'll see that I demonstrate balance by showing a lot of sky compared to the earth and water. Earth and water, both figuratively and literally, are much heavier than the sky. And in this particular sky is very light and airy. So therefore, I had to create a lot more sky in order to balance the weightiness of the earth. And what I mean by weightiness is visual weight, not necessarily literal weight, as I had mentioned earlier. Yes, it is literally much heavier than the sky. However, visually, this amount of weight is balanced nicely by this amount of light and airy sky. In this next image, I actually did something very similar, but if you've noticed, the amount of sky that I am demonstrating versus the amount of land is significantly less. Let's go back to that first image, and you'll see that there's a huge expanse of sky compared to the amount of land. The reason is because this sky is light and airy. But this sky has a lot of visual weight. It has a lot of darkness into it, which adds visually in terms of weight. And therefore, I didn't need to create as much sky to balance this landscape. Okay? In this next image, there's even less sky. But do you notice what else I did to create balance? That's right, this little bush, this itsy bitsy little bush, which has to be at least 1/20th the size, if not significantly less than the size of this mountain. But because I placed this bush very close to the lens, it creates a lot of visual weight that balances this mountain range. And in this landscape, you'll see that the sky is even less than the last one. Why is that? Well, the mountains certainly add a lot of visual weight, but this little guy right here is significant in terms of adding a ton of weight. And that is what I mean by visual balance. Just take something small in the foreground and move it to something, use it against something large in the background. And as long as that foreground element is close enough to the lens and at the right angle, you will create visual balance. Did you notice that I had to get really down low in order to get this bush into the lens? Yes. We as tourists or landscape photographers have a tendency to stand up straight and always bring our tripods up to the height of our eyes. Well, there is a huge benefit to looking at different angles and different heights. In this particular case, a low tripod height, which was maybe, I want to say no more than 18 inches off the ground, balanced this bush with these mountains. In this last image, you'll notice that I use this little puddle. This little puddle is no more than 3 feet or basically 1 meter wide. But because I got down extremely low to the ground, you'll see that the weight of this particular puddle against this huge mountain range in the background balances the image. So there you have it. Here are 4 images that demonstrate balance. Let's do a quick recap. In this first image, because the sky was light and airy, I had to include a lot of sky in order to balance the weightiness of the visual weightiness of the earth and water. In this next image, because the sky had a bit more visual weight due to the darkness of the clouds and the heaviness of the clouds, I didn't have to include as much sky in order to balance the landscape. And in this particular image, I used this little bush to balance these large mountains in the background. Notice that I'm going from down to up. It doesn't necessarily have to be from down to up. It could be from left to right or right to left. But as landscape photographers, we typically view our images from the bottom up. And that's the reason why I've selected these images, to basically balance from the bottom to the top. And to summarize in this image, again, a 3-foot wide little puddle against a humongous mountain in the background balances this image and makes it an absolutely delightful image to look at. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you found value in this particular tutorial, please like it. It really helps other people who are searching for the same kind of education find this particular video. And until the next video, may you always be in good light.